Get the Heavenly Realm Healing MP3 at JasonGallant.ca. So every once in a while, I get somebody that comments down below one of my videos and, you know, they're in a state of desperation, perhaps, you know, extreme suffering. Perhaps they've had events that happened in their life, or perhaps not. Perhaps they're just suffering because, you know, some of us that find the spiritual journey start to see that suffering and the events aren't necessarily linked, because sometimes the suffering is worst when nothing is bad going on, right? So ultimately, when you realize that this is happening in your life, you start upon the spiritual journey. You start to look, you know, and it's pretty common for people to say, hey, you know, what's the fastest way for me to be free right now? What's the most obvious, easiest way? Just what can I do that'll take about 3 minutes and free me forever from my suffering? And a lot of times a teacher will give you the tool to do this. A lot of times satsang, you know, the satsang we talk about sometimes, who is the self, who is the I, let go of this, you know. This is the fastest way to cut the head off your suffering. It really is. But it does take time for you to understand it. So to develop the spiritual understanding, you have to immerse yourself over and over and over again in the teachings, which is why I recommend that you listen to my videos over and over again. The reason why is because when you listen to the video the first time, it will have a different meaning than 6 months down the road after you've done some spiritual work and you've meditated and you've, you know, self-reflected, you know, who is thinking, you know, is thought really necessary for me to exist, you know, this sort of thing. As you listen, the teachings will go deeper. They will go deeper, okay? So the best advice I can give you when you're embarking on the spiritual journey, you're saying, hey, I'm depressed or I have anxiety, I want to be free of suffering, you know, what should I do? And the most important thing you need to do is to develop discipline. All right? Discipline. This is probably why some gurus made people just sweep ashrams or temples, you know, for years or months on end or decades in some cases, right? Just to develop discipline. You need to develop discipline because a lot of times what's happening is that you have not reined in your mind for so long, it's just running rampant. You know, it's causing all sorts of problems and you have no leash. See, discipline is the leash to pull it in. Every time you notice it's going towards a thought that's creating suffering, you say, oh, no, pull it back. Oh, no, pull it back. And you practice this. And this is not a quick fix solution. This takes time to develop. It's like developing strength. Right? When you develop strength, and those of you that know me from my other YouTube channel see that I've, you know, used to be a professional natural bodybuilder, but developing strength takes decades. It's not an overnight thing. It's something you must practice. That's where the spiritual discipline comes in. That's why it's called a spiritual discipline, not spiritual relaxation. Okay? So when you're doing mantra, you're focusing back on the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. You're not focusing on your thought. You see how this pulls you out of that cycle, right? Mantra, Om Aim Saraswatye Namaha, Om Aim Saraswatye Namaha. Gee, I wonder who's doing my taxes. Om Aim Saraswatye Namaha, right? You're constantly pulling yourself back from that thinking, which is keeping you trapped in the land of thinking. So these different tools such as pranayama, meditation, mantra, they help you develop discipline. But at some point your discipline becomes so strong that you could become the mountain anytime you choose. You see the mind is just floating around, boom. And the mind might still be going like this, but who you are is not. And you realize that. You're very solid in that. And there is a freedom and an experience that is very nice in that. Okay, it gives you some space between you and whatever suffering may be going on or drama in your life, right? You know, the difference between extreme suffering and just a mild discomfort is space. You know, if a lion's jaws are here, there's going to be more pain than if the lion's jaws are about a mile away. And that's the way it is. When you realize the space that's already in you, it gives you this beautiful buffer so that you can become practical, you can deal with the sensations of life in a very sober and surgical way, but you're not getting wrapped up in just recreating pain for the sake of pain. So discipline. So in some cases I've turned students away. I've said, okay, go, you know, now it's time to go work on this, because no matter how many times you come back to see me, you keep on looking to me to fix the problem instead of actually applying discipline. And the best thing a teacher can do for you is to teach you how to take care of yourself, to teach you the freedom that is in you, not to develop a dependency or an attachment to the teacher. You see? A teacher is someone that helps free you from that attachment, even the attachment to the teacher. Because most people think attachment is love, and love and attachment are not the same thing. Love brings freedom. Attachment is based on need and based on you do this and I do that. You know, it's a different thing. And if anything, it will be constraining to both parties, not freeing. Okay? So develop your discipline, apply your spiritual practice. Notice how you are contributing to your suffering. No one can tell you what this is exactly because you know how you're torturing yourself. And in some cases you don't. But as you sit and meditate, you will become aware. And then it is up to you whether you pull away from that type of thinking or let go of that way of being, or let go of that pattern, as some would call it. We call it a pattern, like a pattern of reinforcing pain, okay? When you have the courage to continually discipline yourself, be the mountain amidst all of it, and you keep working at this, you will become a stronger and stronger mountain. You will realize the strength of the mountain that is already within you, and by doing so, it will bring freedom. You will realize the freedom within, the freedom that was already there. Okay, so anybody that says, hey, I got a pill for you or some quick fix, that's all ego thinking, and it's never going to work. There's no quick fix. There's only the practice, and are you willing to apply it? And some practices are faster for you at certain times than others. That's where gurus can come in and say, hey, this would be a good thing for you to do right now because this will wake you up faster. This will wake you up out of that nightmare that you were in faster. Apply this right now, right? But in the end, it is still up to you. You see, so you can see how this discipline is very important, right? So I hope this helps you understand where to start on your spiritual journey. Where to start is to start with a mantra, start with some meditation, start with any spiritual practice you choose, but start and discipline yourself to stick to it, okay? And whether you need a teacher or a guide to guide you along the way, then by all means do that. But stick to the practice. Make that your commitment. Don't make your suffering your commitment, okay? Most people marry their suffering and are absolutely, totally loyal to that. But anything to do with freedom, they will cheat on that like crazy, you know? So make your freedom and your spiritual discipline your priority. Don't make your suffering your priority. Don't marry your suffering. Marry your spiritual practice. And as you continue to do this, some things that I'm speaking about will become very apparent to you. And you become very aware of how you are contributing to the suffering. I'm not saying pain doesn't exist. Pain and life are the same thing. There's a lot of pain in life. But you don't have to suffer when you are experiencing the pain. Every time you fall off your bicycle, you don't have to sit there and cry for 4 days, right? And wait for somebody to kiss the boo-boo, right? You can get up and, okay, all right, everything's okay, check yourself out and move forward. And be happy about it, because sometimes the scrapes and bruises and the real roughhousing of life can make it much more fun. You know, it's a great time, actually. So as you perform your spiritual practice, this will become more and more apparent, and you will be free amidst the battle of life. All right, so I hope this helps. I hope this helps you understand where to start in your spiritual practice, and take care for now.